Let me tell you something most women don't say out loud, but every woman feels it deep within her core, and it's something that lingers long after the relationship is over. Welcome to Dark Facts 2.0, and this video isn't about game strategies or manipulation. This video is about raw truth. The truth is, some men leave an emotional imprint that never fades, even if he wasn't the best looking, even if the relationship didn't last, even if things ended on a complicated note. There are certain things a man does that make a woman never forget him, and not because she chooses to hold on, but because her body holds on, her mind remembers, and her heart stays slightly open, even years later. And no, I'm not talking about romantic gestures, expensive gifts, or being nice. That's not what sticks. What stays with a woman is how a man made her feel about herself, how deeply she felt seen, how safe she felt to be soft, and how hard it was to replace the version of herself she became around him. Most men try to win women with effort, but the men we remember, they're the ones who impacted us without trying too hard, the ones who had substance, presence, stillness, the ones who didn't just say the right things but moved us in a way we couldn't shake. So if you want to be the kind of man a woman remembers long after she walks away, dates someone else, even marries someone else, then listen closely, because I'm going to walk you through 7 specific things that leave a lasting imprint on a woman. And I'll say this clearly, once she's felt them, she never forgets. There's something incredibly powerful, almost disarming about a man who creates space for a woman to drop her guard, and it's not something women find often. Most of us are walking around with layers of defense built from years of being hurt, overlooked, or misunderstood. We're praised for being strong, admired for being independent, and told to always be unbothered. But truthfully, most women crave the chance to be soft, just not with any man. A woman never forgets the man who gave her permission to let that guard down, not because he told her to relax, but because his energy made her feel safe enough to. His presence was calm. His tone was steady. He wasn't judging, reacting, or trying to control the conversation. He just listened fully and completely. That's rare. And when a woman feels truly heard, something shifts in her. You want to be unforgettable to a woman. Make her feel like she can finally take a deep breath around you, like she doesn't have to be in her masculine, like she doesn't have to explain why she's guarded. You see it, you respect it, and still you're steady. That's power. This kind of man doesn't rush her emotions. He doesn't get insecure when she's quiet. He doesn't interpret her softness as weakness or take advantage of it. He honors it. And here's the part you might not realize. Once a woman experiences that kind of emotional safety, it becomes almost impossible for her to fully attach to a man who doesn't offer the same. Even if she moves on, she'll compare every man after to the one who made her feel emotionally protected without demanding anything in return. That feeling of safety, of being seen without being picked apart, it leaves a mark, not in a clingy way, in a soul-deep way. Because when a woman feels like she doesn't have to perform around a man, that's when she truly attaches to him. Not because he took control, but because he made it safe for her to let go. She remembers how her nervous system calmed in his presence, how her anxiety dropped, how her laughter was real and her softness returned. She remembers how he never used her vulnerability against her. That kind of imprint is eternal. Here's a little secret. Most women can spot it instantly when a man is trying too hard. It's not just what he says. It's the energy behind it. The nervous over-explaining, the fake confidence, the constant look-at-me moments. It's not attractive. It actually does the opposite. It makes us feel like you're trying to get something from us, and that makes us pull away. But the man we don't forget, he's the one who never traded, who he was just to impress us. There's something deeply magnetic about a man who's solid in himself. He doesn't have to prove he's interesting. He doesn't feel the need to list his accomplishments or flex his lifestyle. He just is. He shows up as himself, unapologetically, calmly, and without performing. This isn't about being aloof or arrogant. It's about being anchored. And women feel that. When a man isn't chasing approval, especially from women, it sends a signal: I know who I am. I don't need your validation to feel worthy. That's rare, that's attractive. And that's the kind of man a woman will replay in her mind long after he's gone. Even if a woman laughs, smiles, and entertains your antics, if she senses you're not being real, she'll feel emotionally disconnected. What pulls her in is your grounded energy, your self-awareness, and your ability to stand firm in who you are. A woman respects the man who has nothing to prove because his presence already speaks volumes. You know what most women are? Terrified of being truly seen. Not because we don't want to be understood. We crave that deeply, but because being seen means being vulnerable. And that's scary, especially for a woman who's been hurt, disappointed, or misunderstood more times than she can count. We build emotional walls not because we're cold or manipulative, but because we've learned that being soft can cost us. We act tough, distant, sarcastic, even emotionally unavailable. And half the time, we're testing to see if a man can really handle us. Not just the pretty parts, but the messy, complicated, emotionally layered parts too. And that's where most men back off. They see the wall and either get scared, frustrated, or bored. They label us as too much or too complicated or not worth the effort. But the man we never forget, he's the one who saw through it all and stayed. Not because he tolerated bad behavior or accepted drama. No, he stayed because he understood. He knew the distance wasn't rejection. The attitude wasn't hatred. The silence wasn't disinterest. He saw it for what it really was, protection. And instead of forcing his way in or demanding instant openness, he gave space, patience, and quiet strength. He made her feel safe, not with grand gestures, but by being emotionally consistent. He didn't flinch when things got heavy. He didn't run when she got triggered. He held steady, not reactive, not needy, not trying to fix her, just solid and present. That kind of emotional maturity, it's unforgettable. Let me tell you something most men don't realize. Women respect boundaries more than they'll ever admit out loud. A lot of guys think that in order to keep a woman interested, they have to say yes all the time, tolerate her. Moods avoid conflict and just go along with whatever she wants. But the truth that only works if you're trying to be liked, not if you're trying to be respected. And trust me, respect is what actually holds a woman's attraction over time. We remember the man who didn't let us walk all over him, not because he was controlling or rude, but because he knew himself. He had a clear sense of what he stood for, what he expected, and what he would and wouldn't allow into his life. And more importantly, he stuck to it calmly, consistently, and confidently. The man who doesn't abandon himself to gain a woman's approval becomes unforgettable because his standards aren't based on ego, they're based on values. That's rare. And in a world full of people who bend to please, the one who stands firm becomes the standard, not the exception. There's a massive difference between a woman feeling wanted and a woman feeling desired. A woman can feel wanted by almost anyone. Compliments, attention, flirty texts, sexual advances. All of that is surface level. It says, I like the way you look. I want something from you. But desire, that's different. Desire is when a man makes her feel like she's the only one he sees. Like, he's genuinely captivated not just by her body, but by her essence, by the way she carries herself. The way she speaks, thinks, dreams, that's what melts her. Women never forget the man who looked at them like they were art, not in a cheesy or performative way. I'm talking about that raw, grounded presence. Most men chase, most men validate. Most men are loud with their interest, but the man who moves in silence, who sees her fully, who doesn't try to get something, but simply enjoys her deeply, that man touches something primal in her. The man who leaves a lasting impact isn't always the one who stayed the longest. It's the one who elevated her, the one who helped her grow, challenged her, inspired her, and left her better than he found her. That man is unforgettable. Not because he fixed her, not because he played therapist, but because he believed in her when she doubted herself. He saw her potential even before she stepped into it. He spoke to the future version of her and reminded her of what she could become. This kind of man doesn't carry savior energy. He doesn't make her dependent. He empowers her, and when she leaves him, she leaves changed. That's impact. That's masculine leadership. That's what becomes the benchmark for every man after him. 7. The man she couldn't control and secretly didn't want to. Let's be real for a second. Every woman at some point has tested a man's boundaries, and not because she's trying to be toxic or difficult, but because it's how we subconsciously feel out your strength. It's how we discover whether you're grounded in yourself or whether you'll bend under pressure. The man we never forget, he's the one we couldn't manipulate. The one we couldn't wrap around our finger. The one who didn't flinch when we stirred, drama acted cold, withheld affection, or pushed his buttons to get a reaction. He didn't get defensive, he didn't beg, he didn't chase, he didn't collapse under emotional pressure. He stood still, calm, grounded, and that shook us in the best way possible. Because here's the truth. We don't actually want to control you. In moments of insecurity or emotional chaos, we may try to gain control. But what we're really looking for is a man who doesn't lose himself to please us, a man who can stay rooted even when we're spinning. That kind of masculine energy, the calm, steady, unshaken kind, it's rare. It makes a woman feel both safe and challenged because she knows you won't crumble if she withdraws or panics. She knows you won't trade your self-respect for her temporary affection. And that creates attraction at a soul level, not because you're dominant, not because you're emotionally unavailable, but because your emotional center is stronger than her emotional storm. That balance makes her respect. You crave. You trust you. And here's the deeper truth. When a woman realizes that she can't manipulate you, she also realizes she can finally relax around you. Because now she doesn't have to test you to feel safe. She doesn't have to poke at your masculinity to see if it's real. You've already shown her that you're immovable, and that earns her admiration in a way charm never could. Yay! Man who calmly holds his boundaries while still being emotionally available, that man becomes the standard. She may fight it at first, she may deny it out loud, but deep down, she knows you're the kind of man she was hoping existed. Let me tell you something real, something most women won't say out loud. We don't forget the man who made us feel something we couldn't fake. And more importantly, we don't forget the man who felt like a standard we couldn't easily replace. It's not about how much money you had. It's not about the car you drove or how many good morning texts you sent. It's about who you were when things got real. When we tested you, when we got moody, distant, confusing. Did you hold the line? Did you stay grounded in your worth? Did you make us feel something deep even if we didn't admit it at the time? If you did, you became that man she compares everyone else to. Even if she moved on, even if she pretends you never mattered, trust me, you did. And here's the bold truth. If you're the kind of man who leads with quiet confidence, who doesn't lose himself chasing approval, who values connection but values self-respect even more, then you become unforgettable. So don't focus on impressing her. Focus on impacting her. Don't try to be her dream guy. Be the man who shifts her reality. Because women don't remember the ones who tried to buy their attention. They remember the ones who made them feel something that couldn't be replaced. And if that's the kind of man you are or the kind of man you're becoming, then she'll remember you long after the texts stop, long after the calls end, long after she's with someone else. She'll remember the way you made her feel about herself. She'll remember the version of her that only came alive with you. She'll remember you as the standard, because presence is louder than words. Stillness is more powerful than strategy, and impact lasts longer than attention. And if you're watching this right now on Dark Facts 2, 0, and you feel that deep pull inside you to rise to this level of manhood, then you're already halfway there. You're already on the path to becoming the kind of man who doesn't have to chase attention because he naturally commands respect. So, step into it, own it, live it. And trust me, she will never forget you. If this message resonated with you, share it with another man who needs to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to Dark Facts 2, 0 for more grounded, honest, and transformative insights about love, relationships, masculinity, and truth. This isn't about manipulation, this is about embodiment. Become unforgettable.